All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched NBA facts. I got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. I did a two-part series the last couple days, kind of like a what-if situation. What if a player would have won 2 extra playoff games? What it would have meant for their careers at critical moments also. I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope the guys that watched it, you guys liked it. It seemed like the people that watched it really enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to do so. This video here, what I was going to do is similar to one that I did about Steph Curry not long ago. And that was about not playing teams that were necessarily at their full strength, or, not having to play the best possible team they could because of upsets, that kind of thing. And I know it's not the player's fault that if another team gets injured, and even your team will have injuries, no doubt about it, no question. And also that you can't control when teams get upset. You can't control that. But you can go back and look at it historically and say, well, they didn't play the best possible teams. Anyway, I'm doing this one about LeBron James. I plan on doing one about Michael Jordan coming soon as well. And, we'll compare the three. So LeBron James, his first playoff series was against the Washington Wizards in 2006. He was the 4 seed. They were the 5 seed. No significant injuries. Cleveland won 4-2. The next series was against the Pistons. No significant injuries there. They were the number 1 seed. Cleveland lost 4-3. Okay, in 2007, the Wizards were the 7 seed, Cleveland the 2 seed. However, the Wizards had Gilbert Arenas was out for the whole playoffs. Caron Butler was out for the whole playoffs. And Gordon Hayward was out 1 game. Actually, Anton Jameson outscored LeBron in that series. Not that that's relevant. But right away, this magical 2007 run, you don't have to play against their, basically their two of their 3 best players for sure. And then in the next round, avoiding the 3 seed Toronto, you didn't have to play them as the 2 seed. Instead, you got the 6 seed 41-41 New Jersey Nets. And they were missing Nenad Kristic, who was out for the whole thing. He was 4th in minutes played and averaged 16.4 points a game. Now, do I think that would have made the difference in the series? I don't, but not at full strength, and you avoided the 3 seed. That would have been certainly more of a challenge than 6 seeded New Jersey missing, their 4th best player as far as minutes played goes. Then they played the number 1 seed Pistons, who had no significant injuries. They beat them 4-2. And then in the finals, they played San Antonio, who had no significant injuries, but San Antonio was the 3 seed. They were not the best possible team that Cleveland could have played. That would have been Dallas, who was 67-15. Even though Cleveland got swept in that series, I feel like Dallas would have made it even uglier. But anyway, they didn't have to play the best team in the West. In fact, I think the 2 seed was Phoenix. And they kind of got robbed. There was a stupid suspension to Stoudemire, yada, yada. But anyway, avoiding the best team nonetheless. 2008, Cleveland plays the Washington Wizards. They're, Cleveland the 4, Wizards the 5. Gilbert Arenas is out 2 games. And he played 15 minutes per game less in the other 2 games than like his season average. So, he was beat, hobbled, whatever. Their best player nonetheless. Well, they won that series. Then they played Boston, who was the 1 seed. They had no injuries, but they beat them 4-3. In 2009, Cleveland was the 1 seed. It was a 66-win team. In the first round, they played 8-seeded Detroit. Their best player, Allen Iverson, out. Then they played the 4 seed. That was the best possible team they could have played. Al Horford and Marvin Williams missed 1 game each, but they got swept. Probably wouldn't have mattered. And then in the finals, they played 3 seed Orlando, who had Jameer Nelson out, who was an all-star that year. However, They didn't play the 2 seed Boston, and Boston was missing Kevin Garnett that year. He was hurt and missed the whole playoffs. This is a 62-win team we're talking about. So they didn't have to play even though they got beat anyway, they didn't have to play the best possible team in 2009. In 2010, they played Chicago, the 8 seed, because they were, again, a 61-win team that year. And then they got upset by the 4 seed Boston. Nothing really to say other than that. In 2011, they played Philly, the 7 seed, no significant injury. Boston, the 3 seed, no significant injury. Chicago, the 1 seed, no significant injury. Then Dallas, the 3 seed. Well, even though they lost 4-2, they avoided playing the number 1 seed San Antonio Spurs, who were 61-21, the number 1 seed. Again, not their fault. They can't control this stuff, but avoiding the top teams. When I do the Michael Jordan video, you're really going to see why this is relevant. You're like, I know some of you are like, well, what's the big deal? They can't control it. You'll see. 2012. Miami was the 2 seed, New York Knicks the 7 seed. Iman Shumpert missed 4 games. Amari Stoudemire missed 1. Now, they won that series 4-1, so it didn't matter. The next series, they played Indiana, the 3 seed. Okay, that was the team, the right team to play. They beat them 4-2, no problem. And then they played Boston, who was only the 4 seed. And even though they took them 7 games, Boston took Miami 7 games, they avoided the number 1 seed Chicago after Derrick Rose got injured in game 1. The guy who was the MVP the season before, clearly the best player on the number 1 seed goes down. That's a problem. So they avoided them. Then they get to the finals. They play Oklahoma City, who was the 2 seed. They avoided the number 1 seed San Antonio again. Who was about 4 wins better than OKC that year. And Miami did beat Oklahoma City. They may not have beat San Antonio. 2013, they were the number 1 seed, Miami, a 66-win team. They played Milwaukee, the 8 seed in the first round, no significant injuries. They played Chicago, the 5 seed. Brooklyn was the 4 seed, but they got beat. And then they played the 3 seed, Indiana, who did not have Danny Granger, who was average about 25 points a game. He was out, and they narrowly won in 7. Well, they blew him out in the game 7, but they won in 7 games. But they avoided the 2-seeded New York Knicks, and the Knicks had Stoudemire was out 2 games, part of the reason they lost. Okay, 2014. Hold on, damn it. Sorry about that. Charlotte. All right, sorry about that. Damn cat jumped up there. All right. Anyway, in the 2013 finals, the Heat played San Antonio, and they won in 7, but they avoided the number 1 Oklahoma City Thunder because Westbrook got hurt. And, San Antonio made short work of them without Westbrook, so on and so forth. 2014, Miami was the 2 seed. They played Charlotte, the 7 seed, missing Al Jefferson 1 game. Don't think it would have mattered, but still. Then they played the 6 seed Brooklyn, avoiding 3-seeded Toronto. Do I think it would have mattered? Probably not, but they avoided a better team. Not their fault, I agree. Then they played number 1 seed Indiana, and Danny Granger is out. And that, was that's a big loss. Then they played in the West. They finally played the number 1 seed in the West, and San Antonio waxed them in 5 games. 2015, LeBron's now on Cleveland. They're the 2 seed. They play Boston, the 7 seed, no significant injuries. Then they play 3-seeded Chicago. This doesn't get talked about much, but they played the Bulls, beat them 4-2, but Pau Gasol missed 2 games. And I believe those are the 2 of the games the Bulls lost. So 2-2 with Gasol, 0-2 without him, as far as the Bulls are concerned, maybe something there. Then in the conference finals, they played Atlanta, the 1 seed. Kyle Korver missed 2 games, but they got swept. Probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. Then they played 1-seeded Golden State. They got beat 4-2. I understand Cleveland had injuries of their own. I get that. 2016, Cleveland is the 1 seed. They played Detroit, the 8 seed, no significant injuries. Atlanta, the 4 seed, no injuries. Then Toronto, the 2 seed, no injuries. They played the number 1 seed, Golden State. So they actually finally played the perfect the perfect scenario to play the best possible team they could. And they won against Golden State in 7. You know, Draymond Green suspended the 1 game. Andrew Bogut missed 2 games. Barbosa missed a game. But they won the series. But there was injuries there. Now, in 2017, Cleveland's a 2 seed. They play Indiana. Beat them, no problem, no injuries. Play the 3 seed Toronto. They sweep them 4-0. Kyle Lowry missed 2 games. I don't think it would have mattered. Then they played Boston, the 1 seed, so they're following, the right path. But Isaiah Thomas was out 3 games in that series, and that might have made a difference. We don't know. And then, of course, they played Golden State in 2017 and got beat. In 2018, they're the 4 seed. They play 5 seed Indiana and beat them in 7 games. Then they sweep number 1 Toronto. It's about the weakest 1 seed I've ever seen. Then they played Kyrie Irving-less Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals. Beat them in 7 in a close Game 7 without Kyrie Irving, which, again, I think that would have made a big difference. I think Boston wins that series if Kyrie plays. Then, of course, they played Golden State in the finals, and they got swept. In 2020, they played Portland, who was the 8 seed. Damian Lillard missed 1 game. Probably wouldn't have mattered. Then they played Houston, the 4 seed. Clint Capella out. They won in 5. Probably wouldn't have mattered. And then they played Denver, the 3 seed, with Will Barton out, and they beat them in 5. However, they avoided the number 2 seed Clippers, who had beaten them earlier in the year. I think 3-1 or 4-0, 3-0, something like that. They definitely had a bead on the Lakers. So they avoided playing the 2 seed. Then in the finals, they played Miami, who was the 5 seed. And even with that, Bam Adebayo missed 2 games. Goran Dragic missed 4 games. Kelly Olynyk missed a game. And they still won it in 6. But the overall number 1 seed that year, Milwaukee Bucks, was not in the finals. They got upset by Miami, and the rest is history, again, avoiding a top team. 2021, Lakers the 7 seed, Phoenix with a 2 seed, no significant injuries. Phoenix beat them in 6. I think Anthony Davis went down in like Game 5 or something anyway. In 2023, Lakers are the 7 seed, and they're playing Memphis. Now, Memphis, that's the 2 seed. Steven Adams, their center, out for the whole series, and Ja Morant missed 1 game. They won in 6 games. Would those 2 have mattered? Maybe. Possibly. We don't know. Then in the second round, in the semifinals, they played against number 6 Golden State, avoiding number 3 Sacramento. And Sacramento, it did good against the Lakers that year. Golden State didn't have any injuries, but they were not the 3 seed Sacramento. And then, of course, they played Denver in the conference finals, who was the 1 seed. They got swept, no injuries. And then in 2024, this past season, in the first round, they lost to Denver in 5 with no significant injuries. However, you can see how LeBron James did avoid, a lot of, better teams, higher seeds, missing players. I understand LeBron also was missing players too, some significant, some not, that may have made a difference. But not playing the higher seed has nothing to do with injuries, and that's just pure luck. But you can look back on it like, well, you didn't play all the best teams, especially in the middle years of LeBron's career, even in the early part too. So Anyway, that's it for this video. And like I said, I'm going to be doing a Michael Jordan one that's going to, shine a light on Curry and LeBron's playoff runs compared to what Jordan had to go through. Not really too much of easy breaks for him. But anyway, thanks for watching, and that's it for now. Till next time.